Coming up on today's Cowboys Report, Mel Kiper dropped his first 2026 NFL Draft Big Board, with the Cowboys not looking great, especially on defense, and having 2 first-round picks. Figured we can run through all the names and hit on some of the more notable ones who we can keep an eye out for if you're watching college football on Saturday. Now, if you want more Cowboys draft coverage, if they keep losing, otherwise, we'll do trade deadline stuff, but the more they lose, the more draft coverage we'll do. Like the video for me, please, and thank you. 1 to 25 on Mel's big board. Teaser, we're not going to mention every player. Quarterback is not in the cards for the Dallas Cowboys. Jeremiyah Love is number 2 on Mel's big board. And this was a very popular preseason mock draft pick for the Cowboys. It's like Dallas and Chicago, the only ones ever linked to Jeremiyah Love. Love has been really good this year. He is an explosive, big play threat. We'll have the same positional value conversation stuff. May not even get to you depending on where you are drafting either. But he's been more involved in the passing game. And I think that has kind of unlocked another level for the Notre Dame offense with how he's deployed. Love's awesome. This is very much different than the Bijan conversation because I think Bijan was a better prospect. But yeah, if he's there, he's probably the best player on your board, but who's to say he's actually going to be there? Fernando Mendoza was number 3. They're not taking a quarterback. Arvell Reese was number 4. And I was really glad to see Mel put him on there. Shout out to our Ohio State guy, Billy Beebe, who was on Arvell Reese. He was hyping up before the Texas game. I'm like, okay, we'll see how good he actually looks. Wow. He has been nothing short of incredible. The things he's able to cover, he's able to run stop, he's able to blitz. He reminds me a lot of times of Jalen Walker out of Georgia, where Walker was really good as a pass rusher, but he wasn't as good necessarily in coverage. Look, the comp is a better version of Jalen Walker. A better version of Jalen Walker is kind of just the guy you traded away. So I would even wonder, you draft Arvell Reese, he might be a pass rusher for you in the same way that you've had some other linebackers who were best as pass rushers come through this team. So I love Arvell Reese. There is a real chance he is the first defender taken as a do-it-all athletic linebacker. Who is your dream Cowboys round 1 pick? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. I think the top 10 isn't loaded with talent, so if you're outside of it, some of those guys might end up going away pretty quickly. But let me know in the comments of today's show. Peter Woods out of Clemson, the defensive tackle. This is that 3 technique, but they played him an edge sometimes. I always thought that was weird and awkward. He hasn't been as effective this year. He has not been, the entire Clemson team has not been as effective, as efficient, as productive. Depending on what you do with Kenny Clark, will infer if you actually need to go add Peter Woods or not. Now, I assume they're going to have George Pickens on the roster, so as good as Makai Lemon has been for USC, the wide receiver, we'll pass on that one. The Cowboys hate safeties. Maybe change your mind for Caleb Downs. He is awesome. I already foresee the fact that we're going to do the same Kyle Hamilton stuff because I do think Downs is at his best around the box, but he's good enough. They put him on returns, guys. He's good enough to play deep end safety. They just like him best around the box and being deployed in multiple different ways. The interception this year was mostly a gift. It was right to him, but it was still a pick. He caught it. He is an elite level safety. Those guys don't often go early. So let's say you're picking 12 again this year. I wouldn't rule that out as a possibility because the list of top 10 safeties in the NFL draft are very, very short. Number 8, Jordyn Tyson, another wide receiver. He's good. I don't think you need one. I was surprised Mel put Rueben Bain at number 9. And you tank for Tua all those years ago. It's pain for Bain in this year's class. He's got 29 pressures this season. It is one of the highest rates in college football. Go watch the Notre Dame game, the final couple drives. Him and his teammate were just wrecking it up front. You need a dude now at pass rusher. Rueben Bain, if you could get him, which depends on where you're drafting. I mean, again, we've mentioned 4 or 5 names in depth. This could go pretty quickly if you don't want a quarterback. Depends on where you're drafted, but he'd be a huge addition to your pass rush. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. You can do stacks on the Prize Picks app. Let's pick up the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So, for example, if you want to go with Jayden Daniels more than passing TDs and rushing yards, or if you want to just throw in passing yards more than as well, you can do it on Prize Picks. You can also follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. That's all part of the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Go download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. With uncertainty around Terrence Steele in particular, we'll mention the tackles. Spencer Fano is the highest rated tackle for Mel Kiper right now. 3 hurries this year, a little bit high on the penalties. He and his teammate Caleb Lomu are both very good tackles. Fano's played left tackle and right tackle, so there is play the one you think is better at each spot potentiality there. To be fair, you do wonder if you just have to go all defense with those picks. Another good edge is Keldric Faulk. And Rueben Bain also has this type of size where they're above 270 pounds. The Auburn defense deploys him a little bit weird at times. But I think Keldric Faulk and Bain both have the potential to be 3-down edges. I know that the tackle numbers don't pop for Faulk. It's fine. He's been very good in that area as an overall player. What you were hoping for Marshawn Nealon was going to be, this I think is actually what Keldric Faulk is, an actual 3-down defensive end who you don't have to worry about flipping off the field on early downs, rundowns. That might be what the Cowboys could use the most of. Carnell Tate's been awesome this year, but again, wide receiver, not too concerned about it. Jermod McCoy hasn't played this campaign at all for the Tennessee Volunteers, coming off of a torn ACL. Maybe you don't want to hurt guy. He was pretty darn good last year, though. It was about 50% completion rate. Anytime you get in that ballpark, that's good. 6 pass breakups, 4 interceptions. I do want to see him get healthy and return this year. I can't spend my first round pick on a hurt guy. That second first round pick, though, if he's there in the 20s, if he doesn't come back this year, that might be the right risk value. You don't need a tight end. I do like Kenyon Sadiq quite a bit out of Oregon. TJ Parker is next up here, the defensive end out of Clemson, who again hasn't been nearly as good this season. The pressure rate has gone down. The TFLs have gone down. The sacks have plummeted. There was conversation going into the year hey, could Caleb Downs and Peter Woods and TJ Parker be the first 2 defensive players drafted? Maybe one of them does, but I don't think both of them. And Parker, I think in particular, has been a little bit more disappointing. So what draft pick will the Dallas Cowboys end up with? Let me know for their first pick, not where the Packers won, their own pick. Is it going to be 10, 12, 15? Do they rally for the postseason? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Ty Simpson's been balling for Alabama, but he's a quarterback. Avieon Terrell, that is A.J. Terrell's brother, the cornerback out of Clemson, has been maybe a little bit less of a fall off this year. The completion rate isn't necessarily quite what you would prefer that it be, but he's been solid. I do think corner is going to be an area of concern for this Cowboys team. All right, number 18, Francis Mauigoa, the offensive tackle. This is the other tackle that's in the top 20 on Mel's big board. This is a right tackle, which you might need. He is not named Tyler, which there's one of the top guys whose middle name is Tyler, but I can't remember which one. I have to go back and double check that because I'm just going to pencil him in for the mock draft. But I think he has been a mauler in the run game. He's taken steps forward as a pass protector. There have been some concerns if he's athletic enough to stay at tackle. My thought process is yes, but we'll have to kind of monitor the testing a little bit on that one. Amari Washington next up here, and Washington is a run clogger. That's what he does. He is listed at 6'3", 330 pounds. There isn't much that he really offers in the pass rush side of things. But if you move on from Kenny Clark, potentially, you're going to have a huge hole, at the defensive interior tackle spot. Washington, this would probably be more of your second first-round pick candidate, at least as someone to keep an eye out for. Now, we will have draft coverage, hopefully not much more of it, because the Cowboys keep winning games, and then we don't have to do it. But we'll have it all offseason long at minimum. So hit that sub button if you haven't already at youtube.com/CowboysTV for more free at Cowboys YouTube videos. Another edge rusher. This one is a very different style of player than what you get out of Keldric, Faulk, and Bain. But David Bailey has been unbelievable so far this year as a pass rusher. 8.5 sacks in 6 games played. This is the Stanford transfer. That pressure rate is not a typo. 28.9%, which is unbelievable. That you don't see those types of numbers in college football. Like they do not exist. That level of pressure rate is truly among like the best you will ever see out there. Like Myles Garrett, how good he has been over the course of his collegiate career. His final season at Texas A&M, his pressure rate was just above 16%. Now, David Bailey isn't a run stopper. He is undersized. He has short arms, by the way, but he is not asked to do much against the run, so he gets to tee off against pass rushers. He might be a situational type of pass rusher, like some of like the best version of Bruce Irvin you saw in his time in college or in time in the NFL. But Bailey is very athletic, and what are you elite at? Getting after the quarterback. He answers that. All right, LaNorris, Sellers, you're not going quarterback. I was surprised to see Zachariah Branch so high on Mel's big board. In general, this is a loaded linebacker class. Like, we all know this team needs some linebacker help. Good news, there's a lot of good ones. CJ Allen is one of them. I know Dane Brugler's super high on him. He's gotten better each and every season of his career. He's got multiple forced fumbles, multiple pass breakups, multiple sacks, 5.5 TFLs. I think that Arvell Reese is the best linebacker in this class. I think this is, with the way he's played this year, I think CJ Allen is the second best. And there's several other guys we'll get to here that I'll shout out in some capacity later on. Jacoby Lane, another wide receiver. It's fine. You don't need one there. And then 25 is Caden Proctor, who could be your Wildcat quarterback. Have you guys seen the stuff that Bama's been doing with Caden Proctor? It's so much fun. I love it. The next pivot, by the way, is that it's a Caden Proctor pass is coming for the Crimson Tide on the goal line, and I cannot wait. He was honestly bad to begin the season, though. He was not good. Since then, he's been much better. Of his pressures allowed this season, half of them came in week 1. He wasn't as good against Missouri, but he's starting to look a little bit more like the upside player that he was supposed to be as a 5-star recruit. Who else should be on the Cowboys draft radar that was not in Mel's top 25 for early round picks? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Other names I'll mention, the other Utah tackle, Caleb Lomu. LT Overton catches Howell has, I think I might have misspoke, Howell has extremely small arms. I don't think Bailey's that big. I think it's Howell is the one. I got to go back and double check and look at my numbers. One of them has like sub 32-inch arms, which is like huge red flag. Overton is like a DE-DT hybrid 5 technique guy. Everyone likes Anthony Hill. I get it. He's super fun, entertaining. I think the depth of this class, guys like Sonny Styles, the other Ohio State linebacker, Whit Weeks, Harold Perkins is kind of a weird hybrid, but he's had a good season. Jacob Rodriguez over at Texas Tech is awesome. There's a lot of linebackers who make sense for potential options there. Mansour Delane also is. I'm a huge fan of his game. The measurables might not fit the Cowboys mold, but he's good at football. Don't overthink it.